Hello everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Chuck's Truck. I'm not Chuck, my name is Tom, but my son's name is Charlie, and he also goes by Chuck. He and I are building this truck together for him to drive when he turns 16. He's 14 now, about 14 and a half, so we got about another year and a half to get it done. This is going to be another F100 frame swap. There's not enough of those on YouTube yet, so I wanted to do at least one more. Speaking of which, I want to do a big shout out to all the guys who've gone before me and done this. Nathan's Garage, obviously, Carlson's Customs, Dead Animal Garage, Pat 413, River City, Rudy's Resurrection, and Scrap to Art Metalworks. Okay, that's enough of that. Big shout out to Scrap to Art Metalworks. He's doing a 66, which is the same year as this truck, and he's putting it on a Crown Vic chassis. I'm putting it on a 2005 Grand Marquis chassis. I know the popular thing to do is to use the Crown Vic Police Interceptor, but I got a really good deal on this Grand Marquis. It has 69,000 miles. Runs really good. Air conditioner works. The radio didn't work right. Didn't display right, but it worked. It was beat up pretty bad. The front end had to look like a few minor fender benders, although at somewhere along the way it was hit hard enough to bend up the front rebar behind the bumper. But anyway, all that's gone now. We don't care about any of that, so we're in the process of doing the swap. I'm not planning to do a full document of everything I'm doing on this truck. Just not able to spend all that time shooting the video and then editing it. I know it takes a lot of time to do stuff like that, so I'm just going to kind of go through some of the stuff that I'm doing a little bit differently than what everybody else has done. So everybody does these trucks just a little bit differently from one to the next, and I'm no exception to that, and we're going to do this a little bit differently. I will have some footage of my son. He's not here right now. All this here is just going to be me, but eventually we'll get him hopefully in front of the camera. If not, at the least, maybe we'll get him behind the camera. Right now I'm flying solo. But follow along and let me know if you love it, if you hate it. And thanks for watching. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was how I positioned the cab on the frame. I don't know if you can see this very well or not, but I've got a piece of 4x4 tube steel here, and this is a piece of 2x2. This is another piece of 2x2, and I've welded these onto the bottom of the frame. Right in this section here, the frame is nice and flat, and then there's a flat spot right here. And what I noticed when I was working on cutting everything apart was that the rockers are extremely flat. Rockers are in really good condition on this truck. I didn't have to do any replacement there. I do have some rust up in the floorboard area, and the complete floor pans were completely rusted, so that's why I'm using the Vic floorboard. Plus it gives us a little bit more room. But what I ended up doing was building a 4-inch riser. This is a wood block, and I'm able to set the cab on those 4-inch blocks, and that makes everything level with the chassis. And I drilled a couple holes in it, one here and one over there, and I've got a bolt going through that wooden block that sticks up just barely high enough, and that allows me to take the cab on and off and put it back in the same place. And I'll take the cab off here in a minute, and you'll probably be able to see a little bit better what I did there. So this is our cab lifter. What we have is this engine hoist. I made this crossbar out of a piece of that tube steel. And these patina savers here are on sale on our website for $1.99 each, or you can get 2 for $5 to save that patina and keep your truck looking original. Okay, so hopefully you can see a little more about what I got going on with my temporary braces that I put on to hold the cab up. So right now the cab is floating on the engine stand or engine hoist above the chassis. So as you can see right here, this is a piece of 2x2 steel that I welded to the chassis, and the frame is very level right through here. The front to back, this is very even with the very back of the cab, where the cab's going to sit, based on centering the wheel wells on the front axle. And then here I've got a short piece of 4x4 tube steel that's welded to a piece of 2x2. And the reason I had to do that was because a straight piece going all the way across was going to hit the transmission and everything under there, so I had to kind of dodge that stuff. So what I started out with was a 4-inch, actually it's a 4.5-inch long bolt here and here that I could adjust up and down. And I set it to 4 inches with 1/2 inch down inside the tube. 4 inches looked like a very good measurement, and I thought I was going to need to adjust it up and down, so that's why I was using a bolt. I also had some all thread, so I could infinitely adjust it if I wanted to. However, 4 inches was exactly what I wanted. That put the truck rockers even with this piece of car floor pan on both sides. And by having it this way, like I said earlier, I knew that it would be level with the chassis. And all I had to do was worry about going forward, backward, left, and right. So I ended up making the wood blocks that were also 4 inches. And I left that bolt there. I don't really even know why I did. It could come off. I used one of the bolts, the bolt from the back, for a pin. And I have a hole that I transferred up through this little piece of angle iron that has a hole in it, up through the wood onto the rocker. And I have a hole on each side, so I can take the cab on and off and put it back at the same place every single time. It's been very handy to be able to do that, so I can, I've been working on the air handler box to modify it, and I've been able to have it mounted on the firewall, put my adapters on it with the little round flanges that I made, and I'll probably do another episode on everything I've done to the air conditioner, because it's a lot. And I've been able to take it on and off, take the cab on and off, and see how it's going to work. So what you can see here is that we trimmed the floorboard flush with this brace right here, very similar to what Scrap to Metal Art did. And we're going to have a flat piece of sheet metal going down to the floor pan of the Grand Marquis. Okay, I don't know how well you can see this, but the gold line running across the floor pan there is where I'm going to trim it. And what I did to mark it was I put a light inside the cab of the truck while it was sitting on here and let the shadow fall straight down. I kind of had to play with where the light was, and that cast a shadow from the edge of the truck cab down onto this floor pan. And then I just traced it with a Sharpie, and all I had was a gold one. That's why it's gold. It probably would have been better with black. So that's about all I've got for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments about the build and about the video itself, anything you like or don't like, and I'll take that into consideration. So long for now, and we'll catch you next time.